Today I want to talk to you about change. See, change is what this whole thing is all about. It's why I'm on my 5 minds. It's to help you create change. But change is a process. And if you don't understand that process, if you don't understand the patterns that go into change, it could actually set you up for failure. It actually could make you feel like you're not changing. It could make you feel like you're failing, which would just reinforce the cycle we don't want. So let's learn about the 4 phases to change. Hi, I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and this is my 5 minds. This is where we're going to learn about how to be better, do better, and feel better by learning how to change your mind. Change your mind maps to change how your brain works. And the way we're going to do that is with a new psychology. It's actually a new neuropsychology called systemology. Specifically, what I want to talk about is the system behind change. Because there is. It's not just this quick fix, this easy flow from step 1 to step 10. But there's phases that you're going to go through. And you need to be aware of those phases because they're normal. They're appropriate. And they're going to happen. So it'd be better if you knew them before you just bump into them. I'm going to start off just giving you a quick overview of what the 4 phases of change are. Now, these 4 phases I've kind of fallen in love with, and I first learned about them through scouting, through Woodbadge. Woodbadge is the highest level of training for adult leaders. And in Woodbadge, we talk about how groups come together. Well, the same patterns that happen in forming our groups also happen within us as we create personal change. So let me go through the 4 phases really quick. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. Now I'm going to walk you through and see what each one of those are like. So Mary comes in. Mary's been suffering from depression for years. And she's been in and out of therapy, but she's really ready. She feels like therapy before didn't really work because she wasn't sure. She wasn't sure she was really ready to change. But now she feels committed. She feels right to change. So she's excited. She's excited to learn new ideas and get new experiences. I love to help. You know me. I love to give tools. So right away, I start Mary off on an exercise. I start her with an exercise called future pacing. It's a right brain exercise to help stimulate the right neocortex, as we call him, Rio. We are so heavy in the left, the analytical, the logical, the thinking, the processing, the cognitive behavioral stuff. This is a right brain exercise. It's a visualization exercise that helps her begin to activate her limbic system, Emma, the emotional mind, by creating positive pictures for herself. And the assignment is called future pacing. So what I ask her to do is I ask her to begin to imagine, here you are, ready to create change in your life. What's that going to look like? 5 years from now, what do you want to see? And I ask her to begin to picture herself, starting with simple things like her physiology. What's she going to look like 5 years from now when she is not depressed, when she is feeling positive, when she is feeling confident, when she's feeling good about herself? What does she picture herself looking like? What is her environment going to look like? Where is she going to be living? What are her relationships going to be looking like? What about the people around her? If she has kids, what are your kids going to look like 5 years from now? So I just have her begin to create and form pictures that she wants, that she's excited about. Next week, Mary comes back. And Mary is less than optimistic, Last week she was jubilant. Last week she was feeling ready to change her life. And this week, she's feeling a little bit more discouraged, a little bit more frustrated. And so I said, tell me what's going on. What happened this week? How did your future pacing go? And then she begins to describe that as she was practicing her future pacing, she bumped up against fear, doubt, anxiety, and even confusion. It was hard for her to focus some days. Some days it was easier, but she felt like she was kind of pushing through molasses. And I smiled. I said, Mary, that's perfect. Because what you're going through is the stages of change. She looks at me like, what? What are you talking about? See, change, like I said a minute ago, isn't a linear thing, just an automatic stretch forward. It has phases to it. The first phase is forming. We're forming the ideas. We're forming a picture. We're forming our expectations. And as we form these ideas, there's a certain amount of excitement about it. We're enthusiastic. We're pumped. We're ready to make some changes in our life. And then we hit phase 2. Phase 2 is storming. And what storming is about is that your old patterns begin to push back against your new patterns. There's a little bit of chaos going on in your brain because you're rewiring your brain, and the new neurons and the new neural pathways are having to bump up against the old neural pathways. And so that comes across, and that's experienced as this kind of a storm. It's kind of a disruption process. And so I wanted her to know really clearly that that storm represented progress. That storm represented change. She's getting better. This chaos she feels, this confusion, is a sign that her brain is beginning to disorganize the old patterns. Right? Doesn't it have to disorganize the old patterns before it reforms the new patterns? And that's exactly what's happening. And so I encouraged her, let's continue our future pacing. Let's continue this exercise because it feels a little bit disrupted right now, and I want you to really have success with it. So we worked on it a little bit more, and I asked her to go home and work on it again. And this time she came back with a little bit different experience. It felt a little easier. It felt a little clearer. It felt a little bit more normal. And what's happening in this third phase is that these patterns are normalizing. They're becoming a part of her. Her brain is beginning to rewire. It's still not perfect. It's still not fluid. It's still a little rough and uneasy. But then, as we practice again and practice some more, what's going to happen is she's going to move into her fourth and final phase, which is performing, where the brain has become automated, where the patterns have become consistent, where the new neural pathways have become built. And now your brain is doing it without effort. You're not thinking about it or having to be intentional about it or having to force it or push it, because now it's integrated into your base brain. All behaviors have to integrate. They go into your basal ganglia, and in the basal ganglia become habits. They become patterns for you. And as she moves into her performing phase, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. This is what I do. I get up in the morning. I do my future pace. I think of myself the way I want to be. I imagine it. I feel it. I act it. And then I move on. And as she continued to practice her future pacing for, I think it probably took us about a month or so of repetition, it began to move into the performance mode where it was automatic, easy, and simple for her. Now, I want the same thing for you. And so, not to complicate things, let's do the same with you. For your homework assignment, I want you to future pace. I want you to think about the changes you want to make, whatever they may be. She wanted to get rid of her depression and feel more confident and more loving and more happy. I don't know what you want. Think about it. What do you want? Define it. And then I want you to focus on it. And then I want you to begin to build for yourself a picture of what that would look like. See it in your mind 5 years from now. See it happening. See it real. But don't only just visualize it. That's good. That's awesome. I want you to energize it. Energize it by allowing the emotions that you want to experience to become real too. And then I want you to get this thing out of your head. Get the experience from your head into your body and begin to act on it. Begin to play with it. Begin to move. Be as if those truths, those goals, those desires that you have are already a part of you. Pull your shoulders back, take a deep breath, relax, and let yourself be the person that you want to be 5 years from now. Now know, as you get excited about this, that's phase 1. You are forming this idea. And then you're going to hit phase 2, which is storming. And you're going to feel resistance. And when you feel resistance, get excited. Turned on. Get empowered. Yeah, I'm feeling the storm. I'm feeling the burn. Because that's phase 2. And as you push through that burn, then you're going to move into stage 3, which is going to become normative. It's going to become kind of more normal. And as it becomes more normal and you continue to practice, you're going to move into your last and final phase, which is phase 4, where you're going to be performing automated. It's going to be in your basal ganglia and happening automatically for yourself. Practice. Let me know how it goes. Write in your comments below. All right? If you like this video, like the video. If you want to learn more about how to be better, how to do better, how to feel better, subscribe. I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and you've been watching My 5 Minds. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.